It's time now to take a look at the Shadow Legion Detachment for the Chaos Daemons. So this is actually the first review of Chaos Daemons that we've done for 10th edition on the channel. Michael, what is the detachment rule?
Okay, so this is Bellacor's detachment, and actually there's quite a lot falling under the detachment rule. So each of your Legiones Daemonica keywords nets you a benefit in this detachment. All right, now Khorne allows you to shoot and charge in a turn in which you've advanced. I mean, we're already cooking with that.
I mean,
that is good.
Burning.
Next, we've got the Tzeentch one, which gives you -1 to be hit.
All the time?
All the time.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Slaanesh can't be overwatched.
Well, that's strong.
It's great.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got Demonettes at toughness 3.
Cool. What's the next one?
Fights first.
Right.
And then you've got Nurgle. So Nurgle, if the strength is higher than their toughness, they're -1 to wound. So a durability buff for them, and, well, it's really a durability buff for everything bar Khorne, which is great.
These are incredible.
Yeah.
They're very, very strong abilities.
You'd almost want them in the detachments specific to those gods.
Let's not get too crazy now, okay? Let's just spread it out across.
Let's just put all of it in the same
into
detachment.
one detachment.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So with these then, do you feel like there is definitely an essence here that we want to build into multi-builds, like different gods in one list? Obviously, that's what Bellacor's army is designed around, isn't it? He's the more everyone included. He's all-inclusive, Bellacor.
He is.
So, yeah. Do you think this is designed to do that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the strongest ones, you're probably looking at Khorne, getting that extra movement is absolutely fantastic. Tzeentch, -1 to hit is okay. But your Slaanesh not being overwatched, amazing. I think Demonettes are really good.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Don't play demons. But they seem really good on paper.
Yeah.
And not being able to be overwatched and having inbuilt fights first, I think that makes them a very, very good unit.
I mean, I think this no overwatch thing is definitely very, very strong. And I think that means that, like, your Keeper of Secrets or anything in your Slaanesh army, once you've done your fighting, or even a late game where you're down to maybe a wound or two, you're safe to operate and do whatever you want. Your opponent can't interact with you unless they charge you, and you've probably got to fight first somewhere. So it's going to be very difficult to interact with these Slaanesh units. You've got to shoot them as quick as possible, probably.
Yes, yeah. And then you've got Nurgle.
Yeah.
So -1 to wound, if the strength's higher than their toughness. Particularly good on, obviously, Plague Bearers.
Yep.
But I think the best unit for this is your Nurglings, because if you're in combat with them,
-1 to hit.
-1 hit, -1 to wound.
Yep.
And then you've got Beasts of Nurgle, which heal at the end of every phase.
Yep.
So if you don't quite manage to put enough damage to kill it, it's going to heal at the end of the shooting phase, and then at the end of the charge phase, which you're not doing any damage anyway, it's also going to heal.
It's good. It's very good. Very strong detachment rules. Not one, rules. Okay. Any more?
Yes, there's more. So Disciples of Bellacor is another one. So this works for Shadow Legion Undivided. In short, that is going to be anything with the undivided keyword, mainly the Heretic Astartes. So you can include up to 1,000 points in a Strike Force mission of Chaos Space Marine Heretic Astartes units.
Okay.
Predominantly just infantry, or just all of the infantry. These guys keep Dark Pacts.
They keep it?
They keep Dark Pacts.
Interesting.
And Bellacor gets Dark Pacts, but he auto-passes his test for it. So Bellacor just always has either sustained or lethal anytime he does anything.
So Bellacor's a baller.
Bellacor is a baller, and we'll go over his data sheet as well during this, just so we fully understand what we're operating
on. Consequences.
The consequences of this detachment.
Yeah, exactly. Right. What else is there with this detachment?
So you can't include any of the Demon Princes or any epic heroes, unsurprisingly. However, you can include any of the Chaos Lords, Chaos Terminators, Chosen, any damned units, Dark Apostles, Havocs, Master of Possession, Legionaries, Possessed Raptors, any Sorcerers, and Warp Talons. So you can include all of those. You've got a full host of Space Marine units to use. One thing I have missed as well is if you're Disciples of Bellacor, if you're undivided, you get Deep Strike. So Heretic Astartes undivided get Deep Strike. So all your Chaos Space Marines also now have Deep Strike inbuilt.
So it's like them coming through like warp portals and stuff through the board, right? They obviously align themselves with the demons themselves, haven't they? So that kind of makes sense lore-wise as well. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very good. And then everything basically gains this Shadow Legion keyword, which is what all the strats operate off.
Nice, very strong. And so we're going to get some Chaos Space Marines mixed in with some really strong demons and demon buffs as well. Let's take a look at enhancements. What is the first enhancement?
Leaping Shadows. Okay, so this is a Shadow Legion model. So it could be any of your demon characters or even a CSM character. And the models in the Bearers unit gain Scouts 9.
I mean, Scouts 9 is pretty strong.
Yes, yeah. So if we're looking at demons units, a Khorne Herald of some sort, leading a Khorne unit, now means that they can Scout 9 inches, advance, charge.
Yeah.
You could put this on a Bloodthirster. Scout 9 inches, advance, move 12, charge. So this is an auto take, and you could put it in so many different units, and it would be value in all of them. I think Khorne's probably the place you definitely go to with it. Maybe a Keeper could be quite good.
Yeah.
They're less durable now, so it'd be a great way of getting it into the right position. If you're looking at CSM units, Master of Possession and 10 Possessed. Scouting 9, just get some on the board.
Is there a viable play for Plague Bearers, potentially, to get sticky early onto an objective?
Yeah, I feel you'd waste the damage opportunity, though.
Okay, so look at it more as the damage in it.
Yeah, I think it's a double down on the movement you've got for some of your units.
Okay, what's the next one?
Mantle of Gloom. So while an enemy unit's in engagement range of the bearer, they're -1 to their OC.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have spare points, probably you look at including this one, though?
Yeah, it doesn't say to a minimum of 1.
Oh, okay.
So until that rule comes in as a blanket thing, you could reduce people to OC 0.
Sure. Yeah,
whilst
that's
they're
pretty
in
good.
combat with you, which is quite good.
Pretty good.
Fade to Darkness is the next one. This one's very good. So after the Bearer's unit has destroyed an enemy unit and is no longer in engagement range, they can go into reserves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's so many things you could do with this, because, I mean, we've seen this tactic with Warp Talons, but now you're getting this on something like a Bloodthirster, potentially.
Yeah.
Keeper Secrets.
Oh, my God, there's a lot you can do with this.
Yeah.
And it's the end of the fight phase, so it could be yours as well, or your opponent's.
Yeah, because you could Heroic Intervene, you could kill something, and then just take off the board. So setting up like Heroic Intervention plays here with this unit. I see you, Mike. I see where you're going with this one.
Now, it's important to note that Bellacor, the Shadow Legion, is part of Chaos Daemons. So you do still have the Shadows of Chaos, but the other detachment allows you to deep strike 6 inches away. So you sadly wouldn't be able to partner it up with this enhancer, which would be a little strong.
It would.
But you do still get the battle shocky stuff, which is quite good.
Yeah, I mean, look, just being able to kill something, go off the board, and just deal with something on a different side of the board. It's definitely going on something like one of the Greater Demons.
Yeah.
Because they're the big damage powerhouses of the army, so definitely a strong one there.
It's interesting because you could also put it on like a Slanesh melee unit, like a big unit of Demonettes.
Juggernauts, maybe?
Juggernauts is not bad. Or a Khorne unit.
Yeah.
Herald leading Bloodletters.
Yeah.
Just go in, kill something, teleport off the board so you don't get shot back. Rapid Ingress next turn, and then do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, what's the next one?
So the last one is Malice Made Manifest. And this one, at the start of the fight phase, you're going to roll a dice for one enemy unit in combat with you. On a 2 to 5, you'll do D3 mortal wounds. And on a 6, you'll do 3 mortal wounds.
Okay. Is that good, do you think?
Have you got the points?
Yeah.
It's nice for clearing a move, like a block, like someone's screening you.
Yeah.
Just do some mortal wounds to that. It will depend on whether you've got any units that get better against things below starting strength, because I suspect it's probably going to be good for those units. But if you don't, then I don't necessarily see that you need it, because D3 mortal wounds for the cost of an enhancement seems pointless over being able to potentially take a better unit.
Well, it's time to take a look at the stratagems now. What is the first stratagem, Michael?
Spiteful Demise is the first stratagem, and this is 1 command point in any phase after a Shadow Legion unit has been destroyed. And it's before you remove the last model in the unit, and also before you roll for any deadly demises. What you do is you roll a dice for each enemy unit in engagement range of you, and on a 4 to 5, they take D3 mortal wounds. And on a 6, they take a flat 3 mortal wounds. But you get +2 to the roll if you're a Slanesh unit.
Okay, so we could do some mortals on death, so it's basically deadly demise.
It's basically deadly demise, but not deadly demise.
Yeah.
And we can do it in any phase, so if you get shot maybe if your big guns never tire, you can still do the damage to the unit in combat with you.
Yeah.
But it's not an aura, it's just anything in combat with you, but it happens in any phase.
Okay.
So it's a weird one.
Situational at best.
Yeah.
Might help you if there's one thing left on one wound. You go, cool. Well, I'm going to try and kill you.
Yeah. Well, on a 2+, you do D3 mortals if it's a Slanesh unit. So, yeah.
Cool. What's the next one?
Channel Wrath is the next one. So 1 CP, Shadow Legion unit in the fight phase. You get Lance. If you're a Khorne unit, you get an extra AP.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So advanced charge, Lance, extra AP with a Khorne unit. Damage.
I mean, that's really good. I mean, the fact that you get Lance for any, so Slanesh getting +1 to wound it on the charge is good. Mm-hmm. Even some of your Nurgle stuff as well, just giving them +1 to wound on the charge.
Your CSM getting it.
To be honest, I completely forgot they had that.
Yeah, very big, because what you tend to find with CSM, they've got lots of attacks, decent AP, and okay strength 5 or so, but actually they struggle to win the tougher targets. So Chosen now with Lance, or Possessed with Lance, is so much better.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you'll see it most, is on some of the CSM melee units.
I see that now.
But Khorne, extra AP is very, very good. And you're right, Slanesh tend to have a similar-ish attack profile.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's good, just +1 to wound on the charge. It's very, very good. So it's a nice stratagem to have there. What is the next one?
Death Denied. So 1 CP in your command phase, you can pick a Shadow Legion unit. A model in that unit heals 3 wounds. If it's a Tzeentch unit, you can actually bring back a destroyed model to your unit with its full wounds remaining.
Okay, so it's like in Pact-Bound Zealots.
Yes.
We have the Tzeentch stratagem, don't we, where we can like revive a model.
Exactly the same. You can't revive a character model.
Okay.
And you don't get more models back for a battle line unit. It's just you bring one model back. So I guess Screamers, Flamers.
Yes.
Are probably the most use you'll get out of this, because you'll bring back a 3 wound model.
Yeah, or even just healing.
Just heal a Lord of Change 3 or Burning Chariot.
Or just anything, right? Because you can heal 3.
Oh, of course, yes, you can heal anything 3.
Yeah,
yeah
so
of course.
You could heal your Bloodthirster or your Keeper of Secrets. So, I mean, it's good.
That's true. Yeah,
nice. Yeah. What's the next one?
Encroaching Darkness is the next one. 1 command point in your shooting phase. You can pick up to 1 Shadow Legion Heretic Astartes unit and up to 1 Shadow Legion Legions Demonica unit, and they get Ignores cover.
That's pretty good.
So I'm not an experienced defense player by any means. I don't really know what weapons they've got that are shooting, let alone what doesn't have Ignores cover. So I don't know how many Demons units benefit from this.
Yeah, because Flamers already ignore cover.
Yeah. So
maybe a Skull Cannon?
Skull Cannon, I guess.
Maybe, no, that ignores cover as well. I'm pretty sure it does.
It might do. You got the Soul Grinders and stuff.
Yeah.
So let us know, you're an experienced Demons player, what the Ignores cover would help on the Demons front. Obviously, for Chaos Space Marines, we've got things like Havocs.
Yeah.
That's probably your best option for this. Get an Ignores cover on your Havocs. I do like the idea of the Chain Cannon Havocs deep striking and just shredding something.
Well, I know a lot of the greater demons have like some damage 2 shots potentially as well. Like I believe the Great Unclean one's got some damage 2.
Yeah. Plague Flail.
Yeah, so maybe getting Ignores cover on that, combining that with like some Chain Cannon guys.
Yeah, I reckon if you've got a Chaos Space Marine unit to do it with that's worthwhile, then you might as well also do it with a
Greater Demon or something.
Unit.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Next, we've got Binding Shadow. So, end of your opponent's fight phase, for 1 command point, you can pick up to 1 Shadow Legion Heretic Astartes unit and up to 1 Shadow Legion Legiones Demonica unit, and they can both leave the battlefield. They can't be in combat with your enemy, of course.
Okay.
They can leave the battlefield and be placed into strategic reserves. It all has Deep Strike, so it's just going to Deep Strike afterwards. And with both of these last 2 strats, up to 1 means you can take just 1 of either, or you can take 1 of each.
Yeah, cool. So you don't have to have both requirements. You could have one or the other, or both.
Yeah.
That's good, especially when you've got an enhancement that lets you go back into reserve. You've now got this that lets you go back into reserve. You're really utilising the fact that the army is built around deep strikes.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay. Right, last one.
Final one is Shade Path. So this is 2 command points, so it's expensive. And this is done in your opponent's charge phase when they declared a target. You can make that target -2 to be charged. And if it's a Nurgle unit, then it forces a Battle Shock test on your opponent as well. but -2 to charge, because we've seen that in a few different places.
Yeah.
But it's quite often been start of the charge phase.
Yeah.
So your opponent kind of knows to not charge that unit.
Yeah.
Whereas here they're committed.
This is good if you pair it with Rotigus as well, because he also has this as well, doesn't it?
Yes, so it's -1, I think.
-1, yeah. So it's like, it's really good where you can actually have these combos where you can make your army a little bit more unchargeable. And then that's where you then start to get the counter back, right, and start to hit back into your opponent. So it's a nice to have in the pocket if you play into those melee matchups. The obvious downside here is if you go into a shooting matchup, it's not really going to come into play.
It's not great. 2 CP is quite a high price.
It does feel expensive.
However, because you can do it on things like the big monsters, you can basically make it so your opponent is just not able to get that extra unit that they really need to hit your monster into close combat. Yeah. You can imagine to take down one of these big guys, you probably need a couple of units in melee.
Yeah.
And now one of them's not going to be able to get in, ruins all your plans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very, very good. Very good.
Cool. Right, well, that is the entire detachment. Do you want to go over Bellacor's datasheet first before we go into any SWOT analysis or key combos or anything like that? Because obviously he is the star man of this detachment. It is his detachment. So let's take a look at his new rules and everything, because he has had quite a few changes, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has had some changes. So his base stat line's pretty much the same. Movement 12, toughness 11, 3 up save, 20 wounds, leadership 6 up, 5 OC.
Nice.
His damage output, very similar. So he's got his Betraying Shades shooting attack, AP3 shots, with ignores cover and devastating wounds. And then his sword, we've got 7, strength 14, AP4, D6 plus 1 damage attacks. Or 14, strength 8, AP3, 1 damage attacks.
But he has dev wounds in combat now, right?
He does, yes.
Yeah, which he never had before, which is quite big actually on Bellacor.
Yeah.
So nice glow up from there. Rules changes, any there?
Well, on the damage note, he does get that sustained or lethals, because he can pact as well in this attachment.
Yeah.
So he can get sustained on his big attacks. He's got sustained already on the little attacks. But sustained on the 7 attacks.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage that can come out. Okay, so he's got his Shadow of Chaos within 6. However, he also gets his 3 Shadow forms. Now, the first Shadow form is the one that prevents people shooting units within 6 inches of him if they're more than 18 inches away. But it extends to Shadow Legion keyword.
Right, okay.
Which means in this detachment, Chaos Space Marines can benefit from it.
Nice. Which is pretty strong.
Which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're up against, obviously.
Yeah.
In addition, we've got one to do with battle shocks.
Nice.
So it forces battle shocks on units that are below static strength. And of course, that if they're in the Shadow Chaos, they can take more wounds from this and so on and so forth. But finally, his third one, he has an aura of Legiones Daemonica and Shadow Legion units, reroll hit rolls of 1.
That's good.
Yeah, because it affects himself as well. So he becomes suddenly much more reliable.
Well, especially with sustained or lethal, it means that we can really convert those misses back into hits, and it means that we're more likely to trigger more hits than we actually started with, which is good.
Yeah,
really good.
That's fantastic. And then, of course, giving reroll 1s to hit to all of the Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
With the shooting profiles that we've got available there. And not to mention rerolls to other big demons is great for consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think he's definitely looking better. And he was already good before. I don't think there was any argument about that. He was a very good character before. So it's good, though, to see that he's become more of like the Primarch, for lack of better words, for the demons themselves, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, all right. Bellacor is the star man. Let's take a look at a SWOT analysis for this detachment. What is the main strength for this detachment?
I think one of the things that pops out to me from this attachment is actually the ability to move quite effectively. So the manoeuvrability of the army, but not necessarily just high movement values, but also the fact that a lot of it you can control. Slanesh units not being able to be overwatched is absolutely massive. Because you can take Slanesh units to score points by doing maybe actions or being in a particular area of the board, and they just won't be able to be overwatched. You can also use them to take out key targets without being overwatched, which is absolutely fantastic. Then you've got advance and shoot and charge with Khorne units, really helps them get into combat, which is amazing. And then on top of that, you've got the ability to have deep strike across the entire army, including with Chaos Space Marine units, and then a stratagem to leave the board and come back on with 2 units a turn, which is superb.
Yeah, absolutely. Weaknesses. What's the main weakness of this detachment?
Well, it's quite a versatile detachment, but I think the main issue that I would have here is actually that the pool of units you can take is so large that you'd struggle to really build into specific synergies, and the decision making is also very difficult. I actually think it's really difficult to build lists with this army, because you've got, I don't know, 20 different Chaos Space Marine units, and you've got the entire code, or index rather, of Chaos Daemons. Well, if you take let's say a Great Unclean one, you now want to get that Toughness Aura, so you take some Plague Bearers, you have to take Bellacor, so now that's already, you're looking at 700, 800 points gone. How do you build into each of the other Chaos Gods, or even get them in there, and also build in some Chaos Space Marines? I think it's incredibly difficult with this army to get the right balance and actually get the most out of detachment. There's just too much going on. Yeah,
I think this has been the age-old dilemma of Demon armies, is trying to build that like multi-god army where you can take the best of everyone and make it into a cohesive army. It never really works with all four of them, does it? It usually tends to be like one or two, maybe like a greater demon from one added in there potentially. So I do see a point. It's going to be very difficult to blend that into one list when you chuck Bellacor into the equation too.
Yeah.
And then Chaos Space Marines on top of that.
Yeah, and I think, if you're asking, is that really a weakness? Well, the weakness is determined by which route you go.
Yeah.
If you go lots of Nurgle demons, then actually you're quite slow.
Yeah.
And your weakness is getting around the board, and being able to score cards that way. And then, of course, your opportunity is to take Chaos Space Marine units or other demon units that are faster and can score. But vice versa, if you start taking lots of Khorne units, your weakness might be, I can't deal good range damage.
Well, I think on that point, probably one of the biggest weaknesses of it is the fact it's not very good at shooting. No. Right, it's working in the charge phase and the fight phase more so than is like you could take Zinch and get more shooting out of it that way.
Yeah,
you could take more CSM shooting from maybe taking
3 units of Havoc,
3 units of Havoc. Yeah, so you
sit
could
next to Bellacor,
get some last cannon shots, but you don't have access to Predators. You don't have access to the Chaos Space Marine shooting assets, and Demons are a melee faction, so it is going to work really in one phase. So I guess that on top of the decision fatigue of trying to decide which route to go down, that probably would be one of the biggest weaknesses of this detachment.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, let's take a look at some opportunities then. You've mentioned, obviously, that your opportunities are based on which route you do go down out of the 4, or 5 or 6, or however many options you've got here. What is the main opportunity for this detachment?
So I think if we're looking at Chaos Space Marines, so that bundle of opportunity there, we've got durable units, base durable units like Legionaries with Chaos Lords. Those are great little trading pieces. We know they're great. You also have things like Havocs. Havocs deep striking and shooting a target. You don't really have shooting as demons.
Yeah.
So having, Reaper chain cannons or having even 4 las cannons on a unit of Havocs can be nice to just pop that transport.
Yeah.
Before your Bloodthirster or Bellacor goes in to try and kill it.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have that option in there. So those are some good opportunities for the shooting side of things. Your opportunities for making things easier for yourself is actually to focus on 1 or 2 gods that do opposite things.
Yes.
So, focus on Khorne for all of your combat goodness and Nurgle for holding objectives and being steadfast. And then use Chaos Space Marine units to sprinkle in the shooting bits or whatever.
Yeah.
But your opportunities will be how can you use the other assets, just a couple of 1 unit maybe of Zinch or 1 unit of Slanesh or 1 Chaos Space Marine unit to plug a particular list building gap, whether that's your primary scoring, your secondary scoring, damage into specific enemy target types, or holding objectives.
So I would maybe say that if we're looking at this from scratch, if we're just getting into this army, or if we played Demons before, we probably know the roles of our units and what gods do what, or what units do what. It's kind of labelling what units, what a role is for a unit, and then looking at the roles you need kind of in that list from that point on, right?
Yes. And on the Academy, we go through the whole army list building module, right? Yeah. So we talk about all the different key roles we need in an army list and how to look through all the units you have available and allocate a role to them.
Yeah.
So that when you start building the building blocks of your army list, you go, I need something that kills elite infantry. Right, here's my big roster of units. And you could even do this in an Excel spreadsheet
Yeah.
or whatever you want to use, and give it like a certain keyword, and you could filter some people really love this stuff.
Yeah.
And you could filter it to whatever kills elite infantry and go, cool, those are my 3 options, I'm going to put them in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing this detachment is really good at, is you're blessed with choice.
Yeah.
So you're cursed and you're blessed, because you're going to have a lot of decisions to make, but you're also going to be given the decisions, which is good. Right, let's take a look at threats then. We've spoken about as the strength of the detachment is the fact that we can move around the board quite freely, like in terms of we've got deep strike, we're a deep strike heavy army anyway, but also we have these cool tricks and shenanigans like no Overwatch, we have advance and charge with corn units. What is the main threat to this strength?
Screening and move blocking are the main issues. As much as I'd like to say there's not a lot of fly in Demons, sure there are some flying units, but actually if you look at the overall, there's not a lot.
No, it's the big guys, really.
Big guys, and the problem with big guys is they've got big bases, which means that all a move block needs to do is stand where that base wants to land.
Yeah, buttery biscuit base.
Buttery biscuit base. So the move blocking is a massive issue for you, and then the screening stops you from deep striking in the right place, or stops you from getting a good rapid ingress. So that's kind of the issues, or the threats that can be posed to the Demons army.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, if we take a look at some key units, we've spoken about Bellacor, so obviously we're going to include him as a key unit for this detachment. What are 2 other key units we think we would really want to include in these lists?
Sorcerer and Terminator armor.
Sorcerer and Terminator. For the AP?
AP. And that AP is not locked to Heretic Astartes.
Interesting.
So you can now use your psychicness in the shooting phase, pick an enemy unit, and now everything in your army gets an extra AP against it. So those weapons that you thought were kind of terrible for the Demons now actually can hit quite hard because you have that extra AP.
This is going to be pretty good. I mean, look, the one thing I'm seeing, I think the Warpers just told me this combo, Michael. You could have Flamers of Zinch with your chain cannons on your Havocs, and now all of a sudden you're going to get the extra AP on both of these guys. You could pop Ignore's cover now on the chain cannons, and you've got these guys just pumping out loads of damage, loads of shots onto things, and then that's just like one pairing you could do, right? There's so many other units that do different, like can target different roles, different types of units. I like it. It's good.
Yeah. I think that combo, and you got the Renmaster as well, who can buff your units. You got any of those units for Demons that pick an enemy unit and you get a bunch of buffs against them. Pairing that with any CSM ones that do something similar like that Sorcerer is going to really, really help you out. Yeah. But I think the main players are going to be small corn units, small MSU corn units, advancing and charging. Demonettes, I think, are amazing because of that no Overwatch. Fights first. It's kind of like you charge them and you can't be Overwatch, and your fights first against an army that doesn't have the shooting to deal with you in that moment. Yeah. They don't have anything to deal with you in that moment because you've got fights first. Yeah, true. So that's some of the cool combos. I'm sure there are plenty more. The enhancements give you so much scope. Scouts 9, but also disappearing after you've killed something. Yeah.
Wombo combo times, I like
Wombo combo times. Imagine having Warp Talons, because you can take them. Yeah. Warp Talons, and then also having this unit that has
a Bloodthirst that just jumps
and there's all 3 units.
He carries them in his arm.
Kill something and leave the board. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
Okay, so where do we think this stands competitively in comparison to where Demons have stood before? Obviously, we've got to take into account some data sheets have changed quite drastically. We've had all the Slanesh changes as well from the Emperor's Children book. So all of that piled into one is obviously going to change the balance of Chaos Daemons anyway. So add this detachment into the mix. Where do you envision them being maybe in the next part of the competitive scene?
Well, I feel like this attachment has to be good because there's so many choices.
Yes.
And I feel like if an army has a lot of choices, it's always going to be a good army.
Yeah, you're not narrow, like shoehorned into one build, are you? Or
no, and you've got incredibly powerful monsters that Demons have always had success with. The sort of stat check with several different monsters. But you also have those really good MSU units, Legionaries and Chaos Lords, that you can invest in trading. Yep. And then you also have cheap demon units that can drop down score points for you as well. Yep. So I think this just has everything available. It's all about how you manage to put it into one list. But I think this could be a very competitive way to play Demons.
No, I completely agree. I think Demons are definitely going to be in for a good time with this detachment. And I think it's a very fun way to play. I don't think it's got a lot of tricks, which I think I like about it, and that's the exciting part about this. And obviously, with the refresh to Demons, maybe giving them a bit more of a burst of life to new units as well, potentially, that we wouldn't have seen in previous builds in 10th edition with Chaos Daemons. So hopefully this is what this detachment brings to 40k.
We can hope.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you for going through that with me. And the other video we're going to be doing alongside this one is a list for the Chaos Daemons. So we're going to look at an example list for this detachment and maybe some units we think you really need to include when building in that. So if you want to check that out, make sure you become a YouTube member, and we'll see you over there next.